Hello everybody and welcome to another video. In this video it's going to be my Air Tycoon 4 series. Now this episode is arguably probably one of my most successful episodes ever. Basically because we've just got so much done this episode and have put in so many routes and done so many things, it has been very successful. The thing that made this happen was basically that the economic crisis ended much quicker than I thought it would. I thought it would end in sort of like April or May or something like that. It actually ended in March, which is only about 1 or 2 turns into the time lapse, so I only replaced about 3 planes and then I began setting up routes again. On these routes I went from Guadalajara and finished that off, and I also went from Calgary because before the economic crisis it was over 200, and then almost straight after it was back up over 200 again, and a bunch of places went over 200 as well, but I will be talking about that later on in the episode. One thing I did do though was that I actually changed the prices coming out of 2 places. It was Las Vegas and Orlando. Basically they had up until recently, they had under 200 toll. Now, as you know what my rule is, or if you don't know, my rule is that it's 130 price if it's under 200. If it's over 200, it's at full price. And business in both of these places was under 200, and just after the crisis they both went over 200 around the same time. Well, I noticed Las Vegas first, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to change all the routes for that, so you just see me changing all the routes. And then when I was doing that, I went on the route to Orlando, and then Orlando had gone to that as well, so I've had to change all of the prices up for all of these places. So without further ado, you might want to see me going through the time lapse. This is actually probably one of the longest time lapse I'll ever have in a video, because I didn't actually go through the entire year, but I still did loads, basically because the end of the economic crisis I had so much money, so I was able to order 10 737s at about 3 turns in a row, so I just set up so many routes and it just took forever on 1 turn, so I did do quite a lot, but in a shorter space of time. So yeah, just watch this kind of marathon time lapse, and then we can talk about some other things later on in the episode, because yeah, I get some quite like good new replacement stuff done. You'll see what I mean later on. up being one of the most successful episodes that we've probably had. A lot of routes set up. The economic crisis, which at the end of the last episode I said, I'll just go through in the next episode, start replacing planes, and then when it's over, I'll go back to setting up routes. It was literally, I think, like 1 or 2 months, and then the economic crisis was over, and we've managed to completely surpass in terms of the popularity of places where we were before. Places have just gone much, much higher. Cancun, for example, which was around 250 when we went through the just before the crisis, it's now over 260. Mexico City's now over 300. Guadalajara, which was about 220, is now nearly 240. And I believe Hamilton, is that higher? No, it's around the same, but not every place has done it, but quite a lot of them have, so that's enabled me to get a bunch of routes set up. Now, basically, next episode, there is going to be a massive amount of routes that I need to do, because I was actually coming to think, after the economic crisis, I was thinking, right, I'm going to be doing Guadalajara, finished off Guadalajara, which I did this episode, then I also went from Calgary as well, and I've also noticed a couple of other routes that need doing, but I can't actually do them because we are actually constricted by the size of the airport. Like Cancun, I want to go from there to Vancouver because I forgot to go to Vancouver, and I can't actually do it because it's the size of the airport is 400 slots, and it just needs to upgrade. Right now it's a 395 and the route needs 10 slots, so I can't actually do that. We are going to want to go through a lot of places simply because this is the amount that I found throughout that time. Pittsburgh is now over 200. Memphis is now over 200. Was New Orleans over 200? No, it's not. Monterrey is over 200. Mazatlan, oh no, not Mazatlan, it was Tucson as well, that's over 200. So what's that, like 3 or 4 places, not Albuquerque, like 3 or 4 places which have got it now. I was thinking, we're going to have to start thinking about doing long haul routes now if that's all of those places done. In fact, we might get so much on this front that I'm actually thinking about stopping this because we won't have time to do as much long haul that I want to, because we are about in the halfway point towards 2030. We started in 2000, we're now we're towards the end of 2015. But luckily I left it here because I was kind of getting carried away there. Then I noticed how far I'd gone. Because I think I started in March 2015, but I got so much done that I didn't even go through an entire year, so I thought I'd just leave it at this point and go through Christmas. We went through 600 million profit and 3 million passengers, which is always good. But one thing I actually need to do is show you the routes that we've actually put in, because for the past few episodes I've been forgetting to do that. I haven't actually done it in part 10, 11, or this episode, which is part 12. So the last route we set up at the end of part 9 was Las Vegas to Kona. So I've actually got to try and find that, wherever that is, and I'd imagine we're going to have to go down a million miles to try and find it. Oh, right there. I just happened to find it there. So, this is over the past 3 episodes, and that's about a third of the routes that we have in total. So, over these last few episodes, I went from Seattle to Kona, Honolulu to Kona, Kona to Denver, Vancouver to Seattle, San Francisco, Honolulu, Kona, Chicago, Phoenix, Denver, New York, Atlanta, Houston, Washington, Toronto, Philadelphia, San Diego, Las Vegas, Detroit, Charlotte, Miami, Orlando, Mexico City, and Boston. Then I went from Hamilton to New York, Atlanta, Chicago, Washington, Philadelphia, Toronto, Houston, Detroit, Charlotte, Orlando, Miami, and also Vancouver to Dallas, because I apparently forgot about that. Then I went from Hamilton to Denver and Dallas. Then I went from Boston to Dallas, Dallas to Mexico City, Boston to Mexico City, Seattle to Dallas, Mexico City and Boston, Los Angeles to Cancun, New York to Cancun, Cancun to Chicago, San Francisco, Atlanta, Boston, and Houston. And then went from Hamilton to Phoenix, San Francisco, Boston, San Diego, Las Vegas, Mexico City, Cancun and Seattle. Then I went from Cancun to Charlotte, Washington, Denver, Toronto, Phoenix, San Diego, Philadelphia, Detroit, Orlando, Miami, Mexico City, Dallas, and Seattle. Then went from Hamilton to Vancouver, Chicago to Guadalajara, Atlanta to Guadalajara, New York to Guadalajara, San Francisco to Guadalajara. Then I went, all these routes here, these are my replacement planes, so I won't go through them. Those are the planes I replaced during the economic crisis, so all of those routes in Los Angeles were replaced. Then I went from Guadalajara to Denver, Houston, Phoenix, Charlotte, Toronto, Washington, Detroit, Philadelphia, Miami, Orlando, Mexico City, San Diego, Dallas, Las Vegas, Boston, Seattle, and Cancun, Vancouver, Hamilton, and Calgary. And then finally, I clicked on that by accident, tapped even. I went from Calgary to Seattle, Chicago, San Francisco, New York, Atlanta, Phoenix, Denver, Houston, Las Vegas,
and then went from Las Vegas to Cancun, and Los Angeles to Orlando. I replaced that for some reason. Then I went from Calgary to Washington, Vancouver, Detroit, Toronto, San Diego, Mexico City, Cancun, Boston, Charlotte, Dallas, Philadelphia, Honolulu, Kona, Orlando, Calgary. Miami. Sorry, not Calgary. Calgary to Miami. Then I replaced the Los Angeles to Seattle plane as well, and we have a lot of planes on order. How many do I actually have on order? I didn't actually check that. We have 11. So yeah, that's quite a lot of routes we set up. We are way over 300 now. I believe we're close to 350 routes that have been set up, but yeah, a lot of stuff has happened. For a start, let's actually look at the report graphs, because that's kind of the thing I want to do in the episodes now. So we're now saving over 30 million on maintenance expenses, and that's basically because every single hub that I set up with 200 tour now, I just put a maintenance depot there. Like in Calgary, Mexico City, Dallas, Cancun, places like that. Fuel price is going up a little bit now, but I guess that's kind of doesn't really matter considering that it's gone way down since then. So I'm not really worried about that. As you can see, passengers have nicely recovered from the economic crisis. As you can see, we're over 3 million passengers now. I mean, look at this. I basically, like, if you cut that out, I'm still like on that same trend. You can see the rough trend there is going up that sort of way. So that's where I peaked, which is about 3.5 million passengers actually I peaked at. Not 3.5 million, 3 million. For some reason I thought it was 3 million. It's not, it's 2 million. So yeah, we did peak at just over 3 million there, which is quite nice. And fuel is kind of going up as well, as I said. And apparently aircraft depreciation has also gone up as well, but that's because I haven't been replacing some planes. Now, what I said at the end of last episode was that the A320neo had come out. Now, I was originally thinking about when the economic crisis ended, because I did say at the end of last episode that I would then start purchasing the A320neo. Then, because the economic crisis ended just soon after I started the time-lapse, I was like, right, am I going to order the A320neo during this time-lapse or afterwards? And luckily for you, I decided to hold off it and actually compare it, because I did say I wanted to compare the 737-800 to the A320neo. So the 737-800s that we've been buying, they are 91 million. They have 189 seats, 8.0 efficiency. They have 3,370 miles of range, and Mach 0.77 max speed. Can't really speak. Now, the A320neo has, if I can actually find it, it has the same amount of passengers, it costs a little bit more at 103 million, it's a little bit faster at max 0.78, it's more efficient at 8.5, has 4,287 miles over the 737-800's 3,370 if I remember rightly, so this is going to be our new plane. Because we want to get after we do this, we also want to do long haul as well. And as I said, when we were going to do long haul, I said that I was going to introduce a new livery. I'm actually going to introduce a new livery, not this episode, but next episode, because we are not going to be getting our first A320neos this episode, considering that time-lapse, in fact, that time-lapse is probably slightly longer than all the other ones. I am going to be ordering this plane. In fact, that means I will have to do a new livery in this episode. In fact, when does the A330neo come out? Because I've actually decided now, you know how I've said, there's the A350-800 which I could get, and then there's the 787 which I could get. I have now decided that because I'm going for the A320neo, I am going to be getting the A330-800neo as my aircraft of choice for long haul. So basically, we are waiting for this to come out. So I have decided that I will be doing a new livery for the A320neo. So in fact, how are we going to do this? Because I want to order it, but then also I don't want to do it until next episode, because I feel like we've done loads of stuff in this episode. And then, in fact, no, because next episode, we have so many hubs to introduce. I've basically finished off Calgary, if I remember rightly. There might be a couple of places that I need to go to, but I believe I've finished it. In fact, that's why I stopped it. In fact, yeah, that was why the last plane on here, which I'm actually going to go on, I've got 361 planes, good God. Yeah, that was the reason why that was there, because it was just the, I had 7 737s ordered, and that was just the last one that was left, and I'd finished Calgary, and I was like, I'm not going to start up another hub. I pretty much finished that off now. But remember, we have now got all of these new places which I've talked about, sort of like 4 or 5, so we've got to hook those up to the network. Now I'm going to do the same as I did with the all of these hubs. I'm going to be going from those places to all of the 300 tour places first, and then I'll work my way around to the other ones. I'm probably going to be going from Memphis first, considering that's got 300 business as well, so that should help things along. But we are going to be going from those sort of places now. You're probably going to be cheering from the rooftops, because for ages they were only linked by Los Angeles, because that was when I started the series, and I was like, I'm going to just link up to everywhere possible, and then I was like, well, why didn't you just go all over the US? Yes, you idiot. So, don't know if I said that, but that's what I thought about it now. So, you know what? Let's order the A320neo now. And then what we'll do is we can set up our first few routes with it, because I'm actually going to be setting up the routes first before I actually replace the planes. Like, what way am I going to do it? In fact, because I'm going to be starting up the hubs next episode, let's actually replace them now. I was just trying to think what way I'm going to do it. There is still a bunch of old planes here, but consider I'm getting loads of money now. I don't have to order like a one plane thing like I was during the economic crisis. I can now order 5, 6, or 7, however many I'm going to order. I'll probably just go up until I hit 100 months in age, and then I'll just leave the rest here. But this is actually kind of a convenient time, because these are all about 5 years old. They've got left on their lifespan. In fact, 80 months, what is that in terms of years and stuff like that? It was nearly 7 years. 6 years, sorry, because I was trying to burp then, if you're wondering why I went like that. They've still got some life left in them, but yeah, it'll be good to try and replace them, because as you saw there, the satisfaction wasn't actually that high. It was in the red, and when I start seeing that red, that is definitely when they need replacing. So, as I said, let's actually order the planes now, and we'll start replacing them. I need to start rambling on about what I'm going to do and actually just do it. So yeah, I'm not going to be doing the A350-800, as I said I might do before, or the 900. So yeah, all of the A350 came out during that time. And apparently A320 has gone out of production. So let's actually order this plane then, and I'll just be showing you how I'm going to configure it. The design of this plane actually, we don't have enough money. Because I don't even know that. Yeah, that was because we went through, I literally just set up all the routes and then ordered some planes, and then I went into this turn. In fact, yeah, why didn't I just go into December? I don't even know. I was like, I'm going to show you all of the profits that I get from December, and we're not even going to be going into there. 355 routes, that's a very good total. As you can see, I set up 6 routes that term. We have the Summer Olympics. The 2016 Olympics in Rio, but I'm not going to be flying there. Also, you might have just seen there, Guadalajara also upgraded, even though I'd already done all the routes from there, but I'm guessing it was a similar thing to Cancun, and Calgary's complaining because I've just set up a bunch of routes from there and not put enough counters in. That reminds me, that was something else that I was going to do. Yeah, that was something else that I was going to do during the time lapse. I was actually going to go around all the airports and do this, and then I thought, I could do it in the episode, but I've kind of gone back on it now. But basically, the reason why I stopped the time lapse, I could have gone for longer, and I was wanting to go for longer, but I basically went until my camera ran out of charge, and yeah, I did set up a bunch more routes, basically because we had so much money left over after the economic crisis. I was able to order like 10 planes 3 turns in a row, so we were able to set up quite a few routes with it, so that was why there's a massive amount of routes that we have now. So we have now got enough money to actually order the A320neo, so if you're wondering what this creaking is, I'm trying to tuck my chair in. So yeah, let's actually order that A320neo then. I don't know if I've ordered this before, apparently I have. Considering this is all here. So how many passengers do we have on the 737? I do actually want to look at that, because I want to configure this the same, if not more than that. I want to try and keep them the same. 148 seats, so let's just... how are we going to do that? I believe what I'll do is I'll just cut into the business class a bit more, instead of actually having... in fact, that's just a thought actually. How much business and economy? See, I need to get this as close as possible to the 737 so there's minimal disruption. So right, renovation, so we have 14 business class, and the rest are economy, that's 148. So we've got 14 there, so basically we either gain more seats or have less business class, or we lose the capacity here. That's 32 inches actually. Is that different to what it was on the 737s that I've got here? Because this I haven't actually ordered the A320neo in a million years on this game. I should have just checked this all in one go. What is the pitch? It is... it's 31 inches. That'll be why then. So that means I can actually... Yeah, I can actually have the pitch less here, because on there it was 32 inches. Right, 31 inches, there we go. It's the exact same as a 737, but slightly more expensive, but it's got higher efficiency and all sorts of stuff like that, and we're going to be changing into an all-Airbus airline now. What the hell is going on there? I was meant to order the plane. How many can we order? It's just all going to be... In fact, I've just realised. This is slightly faster now, so I'm going to have to get all new slots everywhere. And why am I tapping off this? I'm going to have to get new slots everywhere, and I'm going to have to do all sorts of things with it, and it's going to mess up my whole guessing slot system. Oh, God. Oh, well, it's a new plane. I believe the 737 MAX is the same sort of thing. So, how many can we order? We can order 4. So I'm not actually going to look what it looks like in this livery, because we are going to change it. So is it there? No, wrong one. It's that one. I always forget which one it is. So that livery we've actually had before we even set up this airline. This was originating from the original Series 2, and this was the livery which I had. I believe I did it in the 90s or something like that. I don't quite know, but it's now very outdated, so we are going to be changing it. So if you saw on my Air UK group video, which I did quite a while back, the livery which I have on it is a quite simple livery, and that's the kind of design which I'm going to be going with this. I'm going to keep the same colour scheme, but for one, because I'm going to be setting up a new I'm going to be setting up long-haul aircraft. The A320neo, if I remember rightly, it actually has something wrong with the engines. So if I just get rid of the colour here, as you can see, it actually colours all the engines, but on some planes it doesn't colour all the engines. It leaves some white gaps. That's why I leave the engines to be white, and you probably can't see anything there because I was putting my hand over it all the time. There's a bit of dust on there. So yeah, we've got those engines off first. I'm also going to get rid of the, the stripe and that bit there. Are also going to go, so if we just get rid of that, oh no, that's yellow. That's not going to be the livery because that does look kind of horrible. So what are we going to do? I want to keep the logo the same. I do quite like that because it's kind of red and white. In fact, I could invert the colours. Should I do that? I might invert the colours. In fact, I could go for the colours on the logo and have the Let's go for, let's try having the tail, and I'm messing this up completely, let's have the tail the same colour as that, so I can just easily do that, like so, and then let's have the underneath a bright red, if I can actually bring it up to that. How does that look? That looks awful. I'm having it the other way around. Not having that way at all, and why did I do it like that? We want it, let's have it a lighter blue. I want it a lighter blue because I don't really like that really dark blue. What's it to make it a kind of brighter colour? Oh, green. Ooh, that's like a baby blue colour. How far do we want to go? That's just what's it called? Like a vomit kind of colour. Not bright. There we go. Why did vomit colour come to my head? No idea. I'm going to try and keep it up here because I know on this camera it looks kind of weird. That is kind of the baby blue colour. I do quite like it. That kind of resembles the sky, which I want to go for. I wish there was much more choice of livery design on here, because I wish they did more swirls and kind of things like that, but that might be the same on Air Tycoon 5. I don't know. We'll just have to see when I actually play that game. Now on the tail, I want to go red, but I want the red to be kind of brighter. So what is it for that? It is blue, is it? Don't know. So that actually kind of makes it more pinky colour, so I'm guessing it's not. That's a greeny kind of colour and makes it a bit orange. Let's go for a little bit of both. What does that do? That creates a quite nice, like pinkish kind of blue, red that's the same colour as that. That looks a lot like my Air UK livery, but I have a different logo in Air UK, so it's a kind of different airline. So that's going to be our new livery for the airline. So let's actually go off and just have a look at this, and we'll end out the episode because I realise I have gone on for quite a long time. Let's actually have a look at our 737s first, see how they look now. Ooh, quite nice. They kind of look very weird now. They for some reason they look bigger, probably because it was kind of more constricted before because there was loads of red at the back and loads of blue on the bottom. But now they are much clearer and cleaner, and the engines are also white as well. I do quite like that. As I said, that is basically the same as my Air UK livery, but oh well. And then the A320neo, kind of looks worse because of the, that's just the thing on Airbus planes. It does look worse because of the little blob around the wing there, but if you look at it like that, it's fine. So this is going to be our new short-haul aircraft for the future. As I said, we will begin replacing these next episode. In fact, I was going to do it this episode, wasn't I? But apparently not, because, of all of these things that are going on. So I'm not actually going to go through December because that means we'll just have a bunch of planes here because we've got 737s there that we need to set up routes with, and we also have the A320neos would arrive as well. So I'm just going to leave out the episode there. We have gone on for quite a bit longer than I thought I would, kind of like the last episode I went on for a bit long. We are getting a massive route network now. Remember when I said a few episodes ago that I wanted the entire US to be flooded under a sea of white? That is definitely holding true now, probably because of especially this area up here, because we've got Calgary and stuff like that, and Vancouver all up there serving those sort of destinations. So we are gradually expanding. Los Angeles is kind of not exactly as prominent as it once was for all the routes here. Very, very successful episode, but next episode we've got lots of things going to happen. We've got a bunch of new hubs to set up places too. There we go. We've got all of those places to set up routes to. We've got the A320neo coming in. We've got a new livery. Everything is going good for the airline, and also we don't have to worry about any economic crisis or oil crisis, because that's going to be the last one of the game. They don't actually have any in the 2020s or for the rest of the 2010s, so we should be good for the rest of the airline, and then eventually do long-haul routes at some point. We might start that from 2020. I don't know. Anyway, I am rambling on too much here. I should actually end this out. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll send the next video if you decide to use that one as well. Bye.